These houses have been sitting on the market for over a year. Stay tuned to find out why. Alrighty, so here we are, and first listing is in Southwest Atlanta, and 650 Albert Street. So right now listed for $425K. Cute little house. We're gonna take a look at the pictures in a minute, and then the other property that we're gonna look at is this 1458 Fairmont Ave. Right, so we're looking at both of these now. They have solid fundamentals, full brick home, great location. They're both renovated. So, let's take a look at these pictures. Yeah, so that's an updated kitchen, nice stainless steel countertop, fun little bathroom situation. I'll get into some of the things I see that aren't working first. But if we go back to listing, I want to show you right here, it's been on the market for 455 days. So that is a year and a lot of change. So been listed for a while. So something you really want to think about, like, why isn't that house moving? All right, so the first thing we want to think is first impressions matter. So if we take a look, I got to be honest with you, the curb appeal is just not, and I'm looking at these live with you guys, so just so we're doing this together. The curb appeal is not amazing. The grass looks a little sad. They haven't really done anything. Like, I don't know if it's the most welcoming front. And also, there are only 2 pictures. So for example, even the picture of the backyard, you don't really get an idea of what the backyard looks like. And something we're gonna discuss is that photos matter, right? So, the paint also is looking a little So I think we could redo the paint. These hedges that you see here could all be spruced up a little bit. Just a little bit of trimming wouldn't really hurt. And the front porch is just kind of there. Like, there's no personality. Yeah, it's got a bench, but it's just sort of there, right? And just from living in Atlanta, I think these pictures were probably taken in the winter. And that matters too, because you have someone now, like myself, say I'm a buyer and I'm looking at this. It's like, why does the grass look so sad and we're in spring, right? So I'm already thinking the grass should be nice and green and beautiful. So now I'm like, oh, great, someone's up with that, right? Honestly, just with the first impressions, a $1,500 landscaping job would make a huge improvement. And also redoing the pictures per season. So, because if it's been sitting on the market for a long time, I, as a buyer, I'm gonna wonder. I'm not sure how I feel about this guy right here. Because it's not fully covered with vines and it's kind of starting, it looks a little halfway done. So I maybe think about that. But yeah, even just painting the porch and updating the porch for a few $100s could really transform that first impression if you didn't want to deal with this walk-through thing, arch thing, and the hedges. Now, once we're inside, it feels a little bit better, but the layout feels, all these pictures make this house look kind of small, right? Like, we don't get any idea what the ceiling height is like. The bathroom, we're not getting the full scale of the bathroom. And there are not that many pictures of the interior. To be fair, most of them look like I took them with my phone. And I have a good phone, don't get me wrong, it's a great phone, but I don't know that I should be taking pictures. So I would definitely update some of the pictures here and maybe stage things a little bit better so it looks more inviting. Show more of the rooms, just in general, especially compared to like newer listings that are in this area, because this zip code 30310 in Atlanta is a very promising area. I'll actually pull it up here. I'm just gonna pull it up for you guys on Google Maps so you can see it. This is the other listing that we're going to be looking at, 650. Okay, so here is the map of 650 Albert Street. And as you can see, it's in an area where, guys, Google Maps hates me because it's not pulling me up. Where's my little red pin for my house? Directions. There we go. All right, let's zoom back in, shall we? All right, so we're gonna go up here so it's in the Adair Park, Pittsburgh neighborhood. This is a really promising neighborhood. There's a lot of development happening here. Property values are very very attractive because they're going up. You're really close to the West End, which is one of the more popular parts of the South Atlanta area. So you're in a place where you'd want to be. It's close to everything. Like you've got downtown, midtown, minutes away. Airport is also not super far. So location wise, is a pretty good location. So I do think part of what's happening here is just that these pictures are doing absolutely nothing for these properties. Like they're really not helping anybody out at all. Okay. So now the hidden enemy, the thing that we're not seeing here in these pictures, is the competition. So homes that are nearby have slicker photography, have better layouts, and at least from the pictures, right? Because if we're just, a regular buyer, this is going to be your first impression. And I don't know that these pictures give you enough to make you think, okay, let me go take a look at this house, right? So these are all really important things to keep in mind. So I think we could relist with some fresh media, some updated pictures, and maybe reset the market perception a little bit with like staging the house. Now, the other thing we want to think about is pricing. Right now, I would say in the Atlanta market, a 2-bedroom, 3-bathroom, so it's really 2.5 bath, just the way Zillow marks things, at 1,200 square feet might be a little bit high, just being completely honest. Because if we go back to look at maybe something nearby, so I'm going to go back to, if I go back to the listing, and then I'm going to go back to the search, and we're going to zoom into that area. So here we are. So here we have Atlanta. We have lots of active properties, right? And I'm just going to zoom in over here. And here we go. All right. So that one, 4 and change, right? That's where we're sitting. Now, so here we are in the same general vicinity. We're going to be over here by Adair Park. And maybe if I pull up, okay, this one, which would be maybe 4 blocks over for $400K. Look at that. 5-bed, 2,300 square feet for 4. See, so if I, as a buyer in that 400,000 price point, if I'm comparing my apples and my apples, I am probably going to lean more towards this option than the other option. So that's just something you want to keep in mind, that the pricing it's a little high for what is attractive within that same vicinity. So these are just some things to keep in mind. So here we are, $899K, a 5.4, and 3,200 square feet, cute house, really cute neighborhood. And again, almost 600 days this one has been on the market. So you got to really ask, some questions like, what's happening here? So what's going on on Fairmont Ave? Okay, so curb appeal, let's go back up to the pictures. I think we have a lot of pictures here. So let's take a look at these. Curb appeal is definitely good. Everything looks very manicured, very clean. The color of the grass matches the time of year that we're currently in, because all that stuff really matters. That hose could probably go away, but that's not the end of the world. I think just in general, it's a much more inviting scene, right? It doesn't look quite as sad. So now the lot is pretty small, and that's going to be a challenge for some people at this price point. Because chances are, if you're buying a 5-bedroom house, you probably have a family, not everybody, but oftentimes. And this is something you want to think about. Is there space for all the humans that are going to be, residing in the property? So I think if we could do some maybe creative, like make it look like this area here, you could live there. I know I'm scrolling through some pictures really quickly. I promise I'll come back to them, because this is one of the other things I want to talk about that I noticed when I was looking at this before, and I want to see if you guys notice it too. But the way that they did this here, I think they could do that in more of the spaces. Like they could really make it look like more livable, and like that front porch is more like an outdoor room. And in this part of Atlanta, it's a very neighborhood kind of vibe. Like people know each other. People are very cool. So I think you could make it look more like outdoor living is possible for someone who is maybe concerned about the lack of outdoor space. Now, here's, for me, the biggest thing is the staging with this home. And this is where I want to spend most of the time. It looks cold. It looks just kind of harsh. Everything's very rigid and square and metal and gray. And I know that I always talk about not painting your walls crazy colors. I appreciate that. But this looks kind of busy. But then this looks like there's no personalities. You know what I mean? Like, it's very disjointed. And I appreciate that they cleaned everything up. Fantastic. I'm glad. And, you know, the pictures I think are okay. We could probably do a little bit better job there. I believe that we could maybe have some more color, maybe more plush throws, maybe a little cozier seating, because it's a comfy couch. I'm not saying the people's couch isn't comfy, but it doesn't make me think, oh, how, like, do I want to come and hang out at this house? And I think that's the thing. Everything's very square and very cold looking. Less than $2,000, you could clean all that up, and it would not take a lot to like spruce it up a little bit. Clean off some of those bottles and things that are there, because yes, I know as a buyer, in my logical mind, obviously I'm not buying that, but people oftentimes make purchases, especially the initial, oh, let me go look at this property, that decision, which may or may not be the purchase decision, but they're going to make that decision based off a snap judgment on a picture. And so it's really important that the pictures create like this inviting space that you're like, oh, I want to live there. I want to be there. And I don't know that it's not given that. All right. Also, this kind of ties into that same point. There's not like a strong hook, right? There's not like anything here where you're like, imagine coming home and like they could do more with the space. Be like, oh, that'll be so nice and inviting when I walk in my front door, you know, but they're not really creating any moments in these pictures or in the way the home is staged. And I feel like there's a balance sometimes between personalization and depersonalization. And that's really where I think we maybe have missed the mark a little bit, that we've gone too much to cleaning out everything that resembles personality. Because there's a subtle difference between your personality and a home having a personality. And that's something that, you know, if you are a decorator, have a friend who's a decorator, or you're a realtor, they can help you with that to kind of get that balance. So I do think some of the other things in terms of marketing that we're missing are, I don't see any video. I think we could have done something more with the closet to make it look a little more snazzy. Because remember, we're talking $900,000 here. Even this, okay, this is a great example. So this is a Zillow picture, right? Do you see how this already looks more inviting? It doesn't look super personal, but this space already looks more inviting than the pictures that they have for this home. And so it's just a little bit of color. Never hurt anybody. You know, so I do think you need some Instagrammable moments, let's just say, in these images, and maybe, as I said, some video. We could do some twilight shots, maybe some more lifestyle type shots. Like, don't underestimate like what marketing does. And I'm making you guys dizzy, I'm sorry. I'm gonna scroll back up to the top here. Do not underestimate what it would look like maybe to just have like some people, like they're having a dinner party. Not 50 people, 5 people. Literally 5 people, look like you're having fun in the kitchen. That alone would tell a story. Like, people will be like, oh, right, because that's what I want to do in my house. And I think those are the little tweaks, little nudges, if you will. We could do some twilight shots. Also, I think it's a good idea, if I'm not familiar with Atlanta, and I'm going to take you guys so you can see a map of where this one is. So, again, we're on the west side of Atlanta. This is a really popular area in Atlanta, off of Marietta Boulevard. It's a growing, like, Twisted Soul is very popular. Bacchanalia, ooh, amazing. Top Golf. But it would be awesome if I could take a picture and show that Top Golf is around the corner, right? Because that's a lifestyle thing. That's something you're like, oh, amazing, we live close to Top Golf. Oh, amazing, we live close to Monday Night Brewing, which is an Atlanta institution for those who do not know. And so these are sort of the little tweaks I think that could make, and most of the stuff we just talked about, guys, cost little to nothing. We're not talking massive investments here, because these are great houses. They're solid houses. Why would this really, solid house be on the market for almost 600 days. And so I do think that for the yard, they could maybe bring the price down a little bit. But I think maybe $1,200-$1,500 on a new photo shoot could make a really big difference. So if you're a seller, what are the top things that I think you should try to take away from these two listings? You cannot neglect first impressions. Bad idea. First impressions are everything. Misunderstanding buyer emotions, that you're selling a lifestyle, you're not just selling four walls. Think about what motivated you to purchase your property, the one that you're thinking about selling now. Like, have a really good think about that. In addition to that, poor storytelling through media. We all know, and I don't think I'm going to surprise anyone by telling you this, but you make a decision, buyers, for most things, make a decision about that purchase by what they see. These days people are researching online, they're looking things up online. And so buyers are scrolling on Zillow, they're scrolling on Redfin, they're scrolling on all these different platforms, and they're, calling their realtor and saying, hey, I saw this really cool thing. Or they're sending, these links to their realtor. I want to go see this property. Your property needs to be able to stand out amongst all the noise. Because if I go back to listing, go back to search, this is what's active right now in Atlanta. So there's a lot of noise out there. What are you doing? What is your realtor doing with you to make sure that you stand out from that noise? And then I pinned a little question in the bottom. So I'd love to get some feedback from you guys about what your thoughts are. So sneak peek, go down there, gotta answer me there. But thank you so much for joining me for my video. I really, really appreciate it. And when you sell a home, just remember, when you're not selling walls, you're selling a dream. And with the right tweaks, a home can move pretty quickly. So what fix do you think would have the biggest impact out of everything that we talked about? Let's chat below, and don't forget to like and comment and subscribe. I look forward to talking to you guys a little bit more later. Stay tuned for the next video. And once again, I'm Krista Core Powell, your Atlanta Property Pro. See you next video.